Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so glad you're joining us, because today, well, we're diving into an absolute classic. We're looking at a legendary tale straight from the court of King Krishnadevaraya. But hey, we're not just going to recount this like some bedtime story. No way. We're going to break this narrative down into what it really is, a brilliant, timeless masterclass in crisis management, human psychology, and just pure strategic genius. We're talking about the famous story of Tenali Rama and the thief. If you're someone who loves seeing a sharp mind completely dismantle a physical threat, you are absolutely gonna love what we've got for you today. Let's get right into it. So, let's kick things off with a question. What would you do if a thief entered your house at midnight? I mean, seriously, put yourself right in that exact situation for just a second. It's pitch black, you're jolted awake by this strange noise, your heart is instantly pounding, right? Adrenaline is just flooding your system. Do you go straight into fight mode and grab whatever is closest? Do you go into flight mode and try to bolt? Or do you just freeze up and pray they leave? It is the ultimate high-pressure scenario, and honestly, how we react in that split second pretty much dictates the whole outcome.
All right, Section 1, the Midnight Intruder.
So according to the source material, a thief actually manages to sneak right into Tenali Rama's house in the dead of night. And as you'd expect, the noise wakes Tenali up from a deep sleep. So the threat is very real. It's inside his home, and the element of surprise is at first 100% on the thief's side. It's an incredibly tense moment. But notice the stark contrast in human behavior here. Looking at the typical reaction, panic and shout. I mean, most of us, the second we realize someone broke in, we'd scream for help, confront the guy, or just make a massive commotion, right? It's literally biological. But look at Tenali's strategy. Use wit and stay calm. The text specifically points out that instead of making a sound, he makes this incredibly calculated decision to rely on his intellect. He completely suppresses that natural panic response. And you know, in a crisis, whoever controls their emotions controls the room. Tenali instantly flips the script and takes control, and the thief doesn't even know it yet.
Moving on to Section 2, the clever decoy. Okay, so Tenali has quickly assessed the threat. Now he shifts gears from passive observation to active manipulation. He decides to set this brilliant psychological trap, using the thief's own presence right against him. He leans over to his wife and speaks softly, but crucially just loud enough for an eavesdropping thief to catch. He says, "Looks like we have guests, let's give them a good reward." I mean, just think about the sheer genius of that line for a second. He is weaponizing his own dialogue. He doesn't yell thief, no, he reframes this intruder as a guest who's about to get a reward. The text tells us the hidden thief hears this and is just overjoyed. He immediately assumes, bingo, there must be a massive treasure hidden in this house. Tenali is flawlessly planting the seeds of greed.
And to really sell the illusion, Tenali drags out this massive trunk. Speaking loudly this time, he tells his wife, "Put our most precious things in this." He is totally pulling the strings of this guy's imagination. The thief is lurking there in the shadows, just completely blinded by his own greed, convinced he's watching the family pack away a fortune in gold and jewels. But in reality, Tenali is packing a completely different kind of payload.
Let's actually walk through how this builds into the perfect trap, step by step. Step 1, of course, is the pretense we just talked about. Step 2 is the physical execution. He secretly fills that huge trunk not with gold, obviously, but with heavy stones and old broken pots. Then, step 3 is the strategic placement. He tells his wife, again, loud enough for our eavesdropper to hear, to place this trunk outside near the well, casually claiming they'll move it somewhere safer in the morning. Why outside by the well? Well, it's isolated, it's completely dark, and it makes the bait so easy for the thief to grab once the house goes quiet. The setup is just flawless.
Section 3, the heavy burden.
All right, the trap is set, the bait is placed, and Tenali? He literally just goes back to bed. The house goes completely silent. And then, in the middle of the night, our greedy thief finally makes his move. He creeps out to the well, finds the trunk, and he thinks it's just filled to the brim with treasure. So he goes to lift it. But it is impossibly heavy. Because remember, it's packed with solid rock. But hey, greed is a wildly powerful motivator. He struggles, he strains, he drags this massive, heavy trunk away from the house. He's using every single ounce of energy he has until he literally collapses from pure exhaustion. And here is the absolute kicker. His struggling and his collapsing make so much noise that he actually wakes up the entire surrounding neighborhood. Tenali didn't even have to raise an alarm. The thief raised the alarm on himself through his own greed-driven effort. So panicked by all the noise he just made, the exhausted thief throws open the trunk, expecting jewels, only to find rocks and broken pots.
And right at that exact moment, out steps Tenali Rama, looking completely calm, cool, and collected. And he delivers this absolute knockout punch of a line. "Friend, thanks for the hard work. This trunk had to be moved, and you made my job easier." Oh man, can you even imagine the sheer embarrassment of the thief right then? His head just drops in shame. He has been entirely outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and totally exhausted, without Tenali ever having to lift a single finger in anger.
Which brings us to Section 4, Brains over Brawn.
So all that commotion brings the villagers running out of their homes. They show up to find this absolutely exhausted, humiliated thief who has literally zero energy left to even try and run or fight. The villagers easily capture him, and boom, the crisis is over. Now the very next day, word of this incredibly clever ruse makes its way up to the royal court. The text notes that King Krishnadevaraya is highly amused by the whole thing, and he praises Tenali Rama for a very specific reason. He caught a dangerous criminal without lifting a single weapon. This was a massive physical victory achieved purely through psychological warfare and quick thinking. It's the ultimate validation of Tenali's method.
This crucial point is captured so perfectly in Tenali's response to the king. He says, "Majesty, where wit works, brute force is rarely needed." This isn't just some clever comeback, you know? This is Tenali Rama's entire philosophy of life. It's this deep understanding that the human mind is a far sharper, way more effective tool than any sword. When you actually apply your intellect, you can bypass the need for direct confrontation entirely. You can literally turn your opponent's momentum, their greed, and their expectations completely against them.
And that brings us perfectly to the sikh, or the moral, of the text. In difficult situations, avoiding panic and intelligently applying your mind can solve the greatest of problems. Tenali Rama proved that over 400 years ago, sure, but honestly, it is just as relevant to us today. Whenever a crisis hits, our immediate instinct is usually to push back with brute force or just panic. But if we can manage to pause, stay calm, and use our wit, we can completely turn the tables. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on as we wrap up today's explainer. Take a look at your own life. Look at the conflicts you're dealing with right now. Are you fighting with brute force, just dragging around a heavy trunk full of stones? Or are you using your wit to let the problem solve itself? Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and hey, keep using that sharp mind of yours.